What is up, gamers? Welcome to my sortie. This is the after action report. I'm flying the BF-109G6 on a dogfighting server and I got 1 assist and 2 kills. Let's see what happened. As I fly into the center of the map, I don't know who's who and I won't be able to know who's who until I get a lot closer to them. As I fly in, I see it seems there are 2 separate dogfights going on. With no means of identification, I'm forced into a pursuit. Whether it's a pursuit of friend or foe, I don't know. But the best I can try and do is get a good angle and see if I can help at all. As I'm maneuvering around to get a good spot to try and engage, you see me looking around constantly. Now I've managed to get behind one of the ongoing dogfights, but one of the planes goes into an immediate dive. Still not knowing if he's friend or foe, and him probably not knowing if I'm friend or foe, I'm left with no choice but to keep following this plane. With me being relatively safe, I keep pursuing the plane, but as I'm in pursuit, I see a damaged plane flying by. I identify this as an enemy plane and quickly pull my stick in order to increase altitude at the cost of speed, but increases my turn rate. I have a higher rate of speed and he has a damaged engine, so it's going to be a little difficult for me to get behind him. But as I'm moving, I saw that there was a friendly plane behind him, so I feel like I have more time now. With that in mind, I drag out my circle and build a little altitude so I can get a bit more control and speed for my next hit. The BF-109 is an energy fighter. What that means is that it performs best in the vertical plane. It's best at climbing and it's best at diving. Other planes, they might be better at turning, especially at lower speed, but that's not my plane strategy. My strategy is to go high then go low, like I'm doing now. I'm going to pull into him a little bit to make him think I'm turning on him, and then roll the opposite way. After he passed my belly, I knew it was a good time to roll. Now to get behind him, I have to pull hard on the stick. I'm going in at a good speed, so it's gonna cause me to get some G's, but that's okay. It's more than enough I can sustain, especially against this damaged plane. I did use a bit of ammo against him. I should have used less, and you'll see why I should have used less near the end of this video. Now, I'm not comfortable with all these planes behind me. Even if I think they're friendly, I could have misidentified them. So I build altitude really quick and let them shoot past. It seems like everyone is at the center of the map, but I know I left a guy behind me, so I'm trying to stay extra vigilant on my 6. I managed to get behind a plane. I'm not 100% sure if he's friend or foe, but I think the plane that just passed me is an enemy. I'm gonna keep flying this plane for a little while. Now, I start taking some shots here, and it's quite fortunate I missed. It looked really close, but I didn't get any friendly fire penalties. And it's fortunate I missed because that plane that just passed was far too aggressive to be a friend, and I determined it's an enemy. Now, I'm left with a bad angle on this dogfight going on, and he's starting to pursue our friendly. The enemy is starting to turn into me, quickly building altitude to reduce their turn rate and then dropping their altitude to extend on top of me. Noticing this, I quickly drop into a low yo-yo and make them think I'm diving. After seeing them flatten out, I also flatten out. With me now under their belly, it's impossible for them to see me, and I feel confident in building altitude. Now unfortunately, he went to re-engage with my ally, so I wasn't able to turn enough preemptively to try and get a good angle on him, but I'm still behind him and I'm able to pull up close enough. I was able to harass the enemy enough for our ally to build altitude and speed, but instead he did a lot of turns, and now we're stuck in this predicament with the enemy behind him again. I'm not lined up exactly where I need to be, but I know I need to be behind him because he's behind my ally. As I get my crosshairs closer on him, I'm ready to take some shots because I'm not necessarily ready to hit him. I want him in a defensive mindset. Unfortunately, it was not enough as our ally goes down, but now it's just me and him. I'm still checking my 6 and no one has interfered with our dogfight. And I see he's trying to start a turn fight, but as I said earlier, my plane is an energy fighter, so I extend out and build a little altitude. I do a split S and try to attempt a neutral bypass. Now pay attention to that parachute because I'm going to be using that man as a reference. I'm pulling up against him, and I'm rolling on the enemy. Managing to get behind him, I see what I think is an ally going across my sights, but I have to ignore him, because I know the enemy in front of me. After checking my 6, I use the parachute man as another reference and pull hard in a low yo-yo against this enemy. At this point, I don't want to really get into a prolonged fight with him, so I'm trying to do a bit of a risky move. This low yo-yo will give me a lot of speed, and I'm going to use this to try and roll on top of him. Unfortunately, our planes weren't aligned right, and he reacted differently than I expected, but fortunately, we have an ally there to help. After seeing that plane go towards me, I quickly do a little dive. Now I see these planes flying around, and it's pretty easy for me to line it up in a fairly energy efficient way, so I decide to start pulling into them and seeing if I can interfere with their dogfight. Unfortunately, I miss, and even less fortunately, I have a plane on my 6 now, so I quickly go into a dive. I flatten out earlier than he probably thought I would, and I start trying to roll into him. As I begin my turn, he starts rapidly climbing. I'm at a low altitude and a high speed with a lot of energy, and I immediately realize the opportunity, so I quickly climb up on him and chase him, because my plane is better in the vertical plane. He also goes up, and we sort of start going into a rolling scissors. Now, if you listen to my engine, as we're pointing down to the ground, I typically raise the throttle, and as we're pointing to the sky, I lower it. That's because it's more efficient to go downwards than it is to go up. I'm getting some ground on this plane, and I nearly lose control as we flying out near the deck, but now I'm behind him. Now I just have to catch up. He starts doing a steep dive into the ground, and I can tell he's getting desperate. I managed to get some shots off, and I know the end is near. I see he's attempting another dive, which is very bold with his damaged plane. He's getting lower to the ground, and he's running out of ways to maneuver. He tries one last time to do another dive to the ground, and for a second I thought he was actually going to pull out in time, so I start pulling into him a little, but he managed to hit the trees. I flatten out a bit and start pulling up. I see that I don't have anyone behind me, but I'm low on fuel and low on ammo. Now I'm flying, and I can just barely see a plane going towards me, so I do a slight low yo-yo by flying out of it. I accidentally pull the trigger while pulling out of it. I pull up rapidly and I try and dive onto him. I was about to overshoot, so I had to cut the engine, and now I'm behind him. Now he doesn't do a whole lot of maneuvering and just lets me shoot him, really. I got some smoke coming off of him, but at this point I'm out of ammo. I quickly dive to the ground, and I see if I can land him on these fields. I'm coming in at a really steep angle and a high speed, but I'm gonna just extend my flaps and put down my gears. I see there's an open patch in the trees over there, so I'm gonna try and get a straight landing here, but I'm coming in far too fast. So I quickly build altitude again and try going back down before noticing a better path, especially since my original runway I was going to land on is already halfway gone. I was nice and low but too fast. I bounced off the ground and I retracted my flaps a bit too much because of that. I think I probably would have survived if I extended my flaps out more. Thanks for watching my sortie. That was 2 kills and 1 assist.